Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts, and today I'm doing an episode on discipline builds the house. And I will tell you that this podcast is going to be a little bit different than what I've been doing the last several weeks, mainly because I've been talking a lot about athletes and the things that athletes need to do in order to be successful from a macro standpoint, nutrition standpoint, strength. I've been talking a lot to the parents as well the last couple episodes, but today I am talking to anybody that wants to know how to build the right way, to build something successful. And today I've got a good story at the end that I've shared clips of it a little bit in the past, maybe my first 4 or 5 episodes, but I'm going to really try to bring it home to let you know that you're responsible for building the house. And that will make sense at the end of the episode when I get to the story that I'm going to share. And, I've talked about discipline a lot, and I even find my own self, like this summer, traveling with Pearson and Beckett all over the country. And, I even let my own habits kind of drift away as far as, eating some of the wrong things, not hitting the workouts that I wanted to hit, making some good excuses that I justified to myself, saying, well, I'm traveling with the boys and doing different things like that. And, when we got done with the summer, I said, enough is enough. And so, this morning I was trying to figure out a good message to give you today. And as I knew I was going to be recording this podcast, and all week I've just been nailing my workouts early in the morning and had a lot of discipline. And it's amazing how my days have just progressed into greatness. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have problems show up in the company or things that I have to address. But this morning, I'm just like, man, this message of sharing that it's the discipline that builds the house that you're looking to build. So I want to share with you a couple of notes and then share with you at the end of the story. Getting started here, if you want to compound time and momentum, you've got to master discipline. Let's go. What up? Guys, I'm telling you, it's those little things that you tell yourself that you're going to do every day that matters. See, discipline is what gives you the power. Motivation, it fades. Your feelings will betray you, but discipline carries you. And I can tell you, if you're listening, I've got a lot of young listeners now, Zane, Hunter, several different ones that are listening to this podcast. And it's for those younger generation too to know that what's going to get them to a D1 program, what's going to get them to be a successful dad themselves is someone that understands the word discipline. So why does discipline matter? Most men and women wait until they feel like doing something. And this is something that I didn't learn until my 30s. I had a little bit of success in my 20s in business. I've always been an entrepreneur. But in my 30s is when I started really figuring this out. That, you know what? You cannot wait until you feel like doing something. You have to believe that the fact is, if I do this, this, and this, what I promise myself, that's what a leader does, because a leader don't ask how they feel. A leader says, I'm going to execute anyway, regardless of how I feel. See, discipline means following through long after the inspiration is gone. All of you know I build meal plans, and when I'm talking to these youth athletes, I'm a little bit like a motivational coach as well. I talk to them about their weight, and I tell them the physics behind if we are this weight, it's going to increase your bat speed by this, which means the ball's going to fly further. And man, they get all excited. Or if I'm working, right now I'm working about 15 adults, and I'm talking to the men about taking their shirt off next summer and having a six-pack. And I'm talking to the ladies about feeling good in that dress that they haven't wore in a lot of years, and they get all excited. And then the first week comes of making sure they're hitting the workouts. Those youth athletes, look at that 4,000 calorie meal, or not 4,000 calorie one meal, obviously, but they look at all the 4,000 calories they need to eat that day and their stuff, but they got to go eat again. Or the lady loves bread and I didn't put enough carbs into our program. And she's sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? Guys, if you want to build something powerful, trust me, you cannot do it without having the discipline of saying, I said I was going to do this, therefore I'm going to do it. Now, here's some identity and discipline questions for you to ask yourself. Do you follow through every time you say you're going to do something? Because if you do, you're casting a vote for the man or woman you are becoming. Discipline builds your identity. If it's who you are, not just what you do, it's who you are. Discipline over and over and over. That is who you become. Now, some self-check questions. Let me ask you. Where are you letting emotions lead instead of commitments? Are we letting our emotions lead us in a wrong direction instead of saying, I committed to hitting my workout this morning. I committed to make more income. I committed to hit my meal plan. I committed to hit my workouts. Or are we letting our emotions say, I don't feel like it today? See, those self-check questions has always helped keep me in check. What actions have you delayed because they're uncomfortable? I had a friend this morning. He asked me if I did the cold plunge every morning. I said, absolutely, 5 o'clock every morning. He said, what did you set the temperature at? I said, 39 degrees. He said, do you enjoy it? I said, absolutely not. Now, I love the feeling coming out of it, but every morning I walk into my single car garage, I weigh myself, I put my towel on top of the cold plunge, flip that cover over, and I stick that first foot in, and I'm thinking, what in the heck am I doing? But I do it because I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to do it regardless if it feels good or not. Next question, what would change if you stopped negotiating with your feelings? See, if you stop negotiating with feelings and you learn to rely on the commitments that you make to yourself, I will tell you what changes. You're going to become that man or woman or that youth athlete that goes to high levels. You're going to become that person that says, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and everyone's going to see that in you. You're going to have a better fit body. You're going to have a sharper mind. You're going to succeed more in business. Whatever that case is, you're going to become that person that you want to become. Next is consistency over excuses. Talent, opportunity, more time, none of that matters without consistency. Excuses kill progress. Lack of discipline shows up everywhere in your life. Stagnant business, strained marriage, broken, tore down body, out of shape, weak spiritual connection. It's consistency over excuses is what builds the house that you are looking to build. Next is, I'm going to bring in a baseball analogy. Base hits versus home runs. Half effort equals half results. My boys know. They have been around me since they was born, working on the ranch in Colorado to doing daily chores around the house. One of the things that will raise my blood pressure, and I don't get it raised very often because I'm 50, so I know how to deal with the little things. But one thing that will raise my blood pressure is half effort and seeing the half results. See, I love hitting home runs. I love being extremely successful. And all of you that know baseball know that you have to focus on the base hits. See, powerful men and women know it's not about swinging for home runs. It's about the base hits, doing the boring reps when nobody's watching, showing up when the motivation is gone, stacking small wins until they compound. And that's the power of this game of life that we are playing. If you want to be successful, don't go out there and look for this one thing that's going to get you rich. If you're an athlete wanting to make it to the pros, it's not you finding that one coach that's going to make that one connection. It's about you hitting off the tee for an hour at a time. It's about you following a meal plan. It's about you hitting the weights when your buddy is out having a good time on the weekend. If you want to be successful, it's stacking so many small wins that they start compounding and compounding and compounding. Next is celebrate consistency, not just results. Celebrate the small things. If you're in business and whether you get a sale or not, celebrate the sales call. Celebrate showing up in your marriage, not just on the anniversary trip. Celebrate choosing discipline over comfort food. Celebrate praying out of gratitude, not just in crisis. It's the celebration of consistency, not just the results, that's going to help you build the house that you want to build. Next is mindset shift. Don't wait for the miracle to feel blessed. Don't wait for the home run to feel successful. Success comes from rhythm, consistency, and daily progress. And that's what it's about. I have so many moms and dads reach out to me on a daily basis. How can I get fit? How can I help my kids become better athletes? How can I earn more income? How can I do this? How can I do that? And I say it starts with the daily disciplines, one base hit at a time until it starts to compound. See, leaders are built in the daily reps, not the rare wins. The difference between men and women who lead and men and women who burn out are the leaders show up every day regardless of how they feel. Now, I want to share with you a story. And I thought about this story several times this past week as I've mentored a lot of parents and spent a lot of time talking to different individuals that are struggling with different things in life. And I'm just sitting there thinking, dude, why don't you hit your workout? Man, why don't you do your daily task? Why don't you keep doing it until you start seeing that it pays off? And this story is about a young man that come out of high school, didn't know what he wanted to do. And there was an older gentleman in his community that built homes, and he took him under his wing and he showed him how to build houses. And he started building houses for this man, and he built houses for him and built houses for him, and he became known as the number one carpenter in the country. The way he trimmed out doors and windows, the way he did crown molding, he did custom wood floors, he did everything just immaculate. I mean, one of the best carpenters ever. Well, this man after so many years, he wanted to retire. And I think he was around 50-something year old, and his hands is all tired. And, he's did it since 18 to 50-something year old, and he's ready to just hang out. He's ready for him and his wife to sit on the front porch and not have to show up at a job site at 6 and work till 6. And he was looking to just retire. So he told his wife, he said, I'm going to go in and talk to my boss. My boss is older too, so I don't know how he's going to take it. But I'm going to go talk to him about me retiring. He said, I can't do it anymore. So he went into the man's office and he said, I built houses for you for this many years. And even though I'm grateful for the opportunity, after I finish the house that I'm done, I'm going to retire. And the older gentleman said, well, thank you for everything you've done. You've been phenomenal. You've been able to build me a successful business because you're such an awesome carpenter. It's been great working with you. But he said, I want to ask you a favor. He said, after you finish the house you're building on now, I want to ask you if you'll build me one more house. And the carpenter said, well, you know, let me go home and talk to my wife. So he went home and talked to his wife. And he was a little bit upset, but he told his wife what had happened. He said, you know, this guy is, you know, I built all these houses, but yet he wants me to build one more after the one I'm building now. And he started getting bitter and angry. And she said, what are you going to do? He said, well, I feel like I owe it to him, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this house, and I'll build him one more house. But he told his wife, he said, I'm not really going to put a lot of effort into this house. I'm going to use some leftover windows and some leftover trim and some leftover doors, and I'm just going to try to get it put together and be done with my job. So he went in and told the guy the next morning. He said, you know what, I'm going to build this house and then I'll build you one more house, but then I'm done. So the guy said, okay. So he started building this house that now he's completed his other one. And he, of course, did what he told his wife he was going to do. He put in the cheaper doors, the cheaper windows, the cheaper trim, the little details that usually he would not let happen in his homes. He kind of overlooked them. But he completed the house. He went back into the man's office and said, sir, I not only completed the house I was building on before when I told you, but now I've completed this other house and I'm done. And the old man looked at him and he said, sir, thank you very much for everything you've done. He said, here's the set of keys. And the man looked at him and he said, what do you mean? He goes, this last home that I wanted you to build, I wanted you to build it for yourself. And this is your home. And I'm gifting it to you and your wife because I know you're still don't have the home you want. You're still renting a home. And I wanted to say how thankful I was for all of your years of service. The land and the home is paid for. Here's the keys to the front door. Thank you for your service. Now, can you imagine what this guy was thinking? This guy was thinking, here on my last home, when all these years I poured everything into one single home, the home that I was building for myself, I didn't do it right. I kind of overlooked some things. I didn't pay attention to the doors and the windows and the trim. Now I'm going to sit in that living room and recognize that the last home that I built, I didn't build it to the best of my ability. The reason that story resonates with me, and the reason I wanted to share that with you on this podcast, is these disciplines that I'm talking about, the everyday decisions. You might not think that it adds up, but it adds up to building the home and the life that you will live in. You skipping the workouts, you skipping the spiritual time, you skipping taking care of your family, your relationships, your community, of doing the right things. There'll come a point where you'll sit in your living room and you'll have to face reality and say, I've built the home and the life that I've chose to build, whether I like it or not. So the hard true fact, ladies and gentlemen, you youth athletes, a few of you that listen to my podcast, understand this fact. The daily disciplines every day will choose your destiny. Will you play in college or not? If you're a youth athlete, it's probably going to lead up to these daily disciplines every day. You parents, if you're able to do the vacations that you want with your family, if you're able to build that home that you want, if you're able to look like you want physically, if you're able to have a mentally sharp mind, it's going to add up to those daily disciplines that you choose on a daily basis. Thank you guys for joining the podcast today. Remember, discipline builds the house. How do you want your house to look like? What do you want to live like? Thank you guys for joining me. Share this with a friend or family member. Good day.